You know, there's been a lot of talk about Abraham Lincoln, but the president we need today is not Abraham Lincoln. The president we need today is Thomas Jefferson. He said that we needed a revolution every generation. Thomas Jefferson said you have to be ready in order to preserve the vitality of your liberty and your freedom, to defend it, not by overthrowing anything else except for what you've been holding in your head that may not be applicable anymore. We've gotten very lazy. We're many generations overdue for a revolution in our thinking. I'm not talking about blood and violence, although I'm afraid that's already happening. I'm talking about a revolution that's probably the hardest kind, the kind that takes place inside the human soul and the human mind.
Federal Reserve, and the rich men who drew up a plot to preserve a way of life they craved way above the curve and control the people that they claim to serve. Now in the days of bartering, a problem occurred that you didn't always get the fair price you deserved. So someone suggested that gold may just work to sell what you made and buy what you earned. They needed to protect all the gold they had made, so the banks did just that for a price to be paid. It's when they claimed an IOU was the same that the first paper money had entered the game. This is all very well, but behind lock and bolt, they printed more money than was gold in the vault. So understandably, the peasants revolt and ignore the bank's pleas that it wasn't their fault. Spill a cup of wisdom from where we once drank. We hand over our lives with no pleas and no thanks. We think they control us with riot shields and tanks. It's about time we realize we must break the banks. Now step forward in time to the Napoleonic War. The Red Shield bankers raced back to English shores, told the leaders they'd lost to Napoleon for sure. So they sold all their stocks in fear of becoming poor. That had all been lies told just to entice. Now they can buy England for a very small price. We still pay that debt to this very night. And our taxes, the Red Shield still owes the rights. So what was developing just across the water? Did America sell out their own sons and daughters? Was to protect the rights of their descendants? Jefferson sought to preserve independence, as American people would have to choose between economy and liberty, or profusion and servitude. The central bank was a direct way to lose the freedom to live without fear of abuse. Fill a cup of wisdom from where we once drank. We hand over our lives with no pleas and no thanks. We think they control us with riot shields and tanks. It's about time we realize we must break the banks. So the Red Shield pursued time and time again to control the Americans for financial gain. But great men continued with breaking their chains, and to protect our freedom, a dragon was slain. In 1836, old Hickory had heard that the Shield once again craved control of the herd. He survived assassination, the bank was deterred, and I killed the bank were his very last words. Now nearly 8 years passed with the bank retreating, but in 1910 they held a secret meeting, and yet once again an idea had been seeded. A centralised bank was just what we needed. Now next came something quite unexpected. Woodrow Wilson had just been elected. The American people were no longer protected. In 1913, the Federal Reserve Bank was expended. A cup of wisdom from where we once drank. We hand over our lives with no pleas and no thanks. We think they control us with riot shields and tanks. It's about time we realize we must break the banks. The rights to print money was solely sworn theirs, and the Constitution started showing some tears. Inflation keeps most of us financially scared. Working harder for less money hardly seems fair. In 1963, JFK saw the ill side in order to let the government print the bills. Now his boots were some very big ones to fill, but 6 months later in Dallas he was killed. Now the American dream is no more than just that. It will never come true, and I state this as fact. What we must decide now is how we react, as our civil liberty is under attack. Cause we can see the truth if we dig somewhat deeper. People wake up, but some people are sleepers, and Ben Franklin's words still linger in the ether. He who sacrifices freedom for security deserves neither.